Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. Tony, Mexico's soccer coach wants his players to abstain from getting busy during the World Cup.
I'm Tony Kornheiser. I guess I could play for that team.
You don't want to tell people that.
Why?
I mean, there's a
I could play in the World Cup.
It's just one of the problems.
What? What's wrong
Can
with
I
that?
see your passport? Because I've known you 35 years. Didn't know you to have Mexican citizenship.
Dual citizenship. Dual citizenship. You got to
Really?
go back away, but dual citizenship.
Okay.
Love to play. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Cavaliers win, Masahiro Tanaka loses, and Rory McIlroy makes a difficult announcement. But we begin today with the news that Paul George did indeed have a concussion last night, according to a neurological examination this morning. George's head was hit by Dwayne Wade's knee last night as they scrambled for a loose ball with 6:49 left to go in the game. George was examined by trainers at the time and allowed to continue playing, a procedure that was okayed today by the director of the NBA's concussion policy. But after the game, George told reporters, quote, "I blacked out as soon as it happened, and then I was just blurry," unquote. Wilbon, were the Pacers reckless with their own player?
I don't know about reckless, Tony. They didn't follow the protocol because we looked up the protocol, and in it, you're supposed to take the player to a quiet place to be examined. I was in that arena last night. It was not quiet, like 5 feet away on the bench. It wasn't quiet. But neither here nor there for me, Tony. I hesitate to think that in basketball, concussions, which happen much more rarely than in football.
George Hill had one recently.
I know he did. He missed time.
Another guy with the Pacers.
But I don't know that they have to be treated the same way. The league has established a protocol and a concern.
And they didn't follow it.
They didn't follow it.
I would say it's a player safety issue, and I would wonder about his availability for Game 3, even though
that's worth wondering about.
In between. Let me say this, though, about Paul George. He was awful before the concussion.
He wasn't.
He was awful. He was 4 for 16 before the concussion.
He was off
and after the concussion, when the game was on the line, he did not make or take an official
tried
field
one
goal.
shot, got fouled.
Right. So no, he's your best player, and he was useless on defense. So somebody should have looked at him and said, "Is there something wrong?"
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Because players want to play.
That goes to the competitive element. You know he's going to want to be out there. What great player is not going to try to do whatever he can to get back out there?
In all sports, Mike.
Yes.
In all sports.
But then when you're looking at him, and by the way, what you can't see from that video clearly is that, and we can see it, his head hit the floor. His forehead hits the floor after Wade's knee hits the back of his head.
I guarantee you that in the NFL and the NHL, they would have followed something differently. And they probably just said, "How you doing?" And he said what every athlete says.
He said more than that.
"I want to go in. I want to play."
He said more than "how you doing," but he wasn't there. And somebody should have noticed that it wasn't a coincidence.
And if they had a more active player in the game, they may have won that game.
They were up 4.
Yes.
I think it was 73-69 with George having hit a 3 when he had to go out for a minute. The Pacers obsessed through the early half of the season over earning home court advantage against Miami, and just like that, it's gone. One great fourth quarter from the tag team of LeBron and Wade nullified it. They outscored the entire Pacers team 22-20 in the fourth quarter, scored 22 of Miami's 25 points in the quarter, and with those two cruising, just like that, the drama seems drained from the series. Tone, did the Pacers lose more than home court advantage last night?
We expected them to win Game 2, and they won Game 2. They have these two great players, LeBron James and Dwayne Wade, especially when Dwayne Wade is rested. And they were great in the fourth quarter when they had to be. I believe they either scored or assisted on every one of those 25 points in the fourth quarter. Now,
shot 9 of 12 themselves in that fourth quarter.
Does this mean to me that the series is over? I got to wait and see Game 3 and Game 4. Now, if Miami at home takes Game 3 and Game 4, it's over, but I won't say it now.
If Paul George is not out there, Miami's going to take Game 3 and 4 in Miami. If Paul George has to miss either one of those games, the series is probably going to slip away. Look, I'm not going to, people want to say, Indiana let this slip away. No, they didn't. Miami has the two best players on the floor.
That's right.
Okay? In LeBron James and Dwayne Wade. They're going to the Hall of Fame. Nobody from Indiana yet going to the Hall of Fame. And in basketball, it's not football, it's not baseball, it's not hockey where a goalie can steal a series all by himself. When you have the two best players on the floor and they're engaged, you're going to win like 95% of the time.
If I were the Indiana Pacers, two things would concern me. One, if you go throughout the playoffs against Atlanta and Washington, if Roy Hibbert had a good game, they won. He had 12 and 13 last night. That's a good game.
Yeah.
And they lost. Yeah. And Paul George, who was terrible, and David West were combined 9 for 32.
That was going to happen after game one. They were hot in game one.
Okay, you can't win a game if you're Indiana without them.
Probably not.
And by the way, Chris Bosh hasn't played yet.
But I didn't think the story of this game was what Indiana didn't do, which has been the story of much of the playoffs. You mentioned those first two series. This is LeBron and Wade. They were great last night when they needed to be. And look, this is like having Magic and Kareem or Jordan and Pippen.
Well, you think they're going to win?
Bird and McHale.
You think they're going to win the series?
Yes, I do.
You think it's over now?
No, I think they got to win. If they go up 3-1, you know, even 2-2 prolonged. You get a 6-game series, you got something. But they're looking to win 2 in Miami.
We move now to the draft lottery, which Cleveland won last night for the 3rd time in 4 years. They had a hit with Kyrie Irving, so far a miss with Anthony Bennett. Today, new Cleveland general manager David Griffin was asked on radio if he would trade the pick, and he answered yes. Wilbon, should Cleveland trade the pick or keep it?
Well, Tony, this actually becomes a luxury. I mean, you got some people out there that think they can move via trade. That would be Mr. Kevin Love in Minneapolis. And if you think you can talk to the Timberwolves and get him to come to Cleveland, okay, I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know that he wants to sign long-term with Cleveland, unless there's a number 6 who wants to sign long-term with Cleveland either this year or next year, too. But that's another whole can of worms. You can use the pick. There's so many different things. You can put a guy out there who can be a running mate with Kyrie Irving. You want that to be Jabari Parker? Do you want it to be Wiggins? Do you want to get Embiid? You got just great choices at your disposal. Plus, I don't know, there are other guys you could try and trade for.
I'm going to tell you something. Everything Cleveland does from now on, with their record of futility in making these picks in the last few years, everything should be designed to get LeBron James when he's a free agent. If he wants to stay with Miami 1 more year and then become a free agent, you put a team together for that express purpose. And by the way, that show last night, which has got fabulous tension to it, you know what I would have liked to see?
What?
A game show host who goes, do you want the number 2 overall pick or do you want a new car?
Monty Hall, let's make a deal.
Like a commercial like that. I like that.
Yeah, you know, Cleveland, you talk about what they haven't done. Look, they've had 4 of the last 11 number 1 picks, including LeBron James.
And they got one guy to show for it, Kyrie Irving, who says he wants to get out.
But what's interesting here, Tony, you talk about attracting free agents and people coming there. You have to look at them with great skepticism. And I know this is not David Griffin's fault. I know it's not his fault because he just got there. But you have to look at what has happened there and say, wait a minute. You got this many number 1 picks and you still stink? Now, his job is to now come in with great credibility and change that.
If you got Kevin Love, if you had Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving, don't you think LeBron James would say, I can win there right now?
If you're Kevin Love, why do you go? You're leaving a team that you haven't been able to get to the playoffs with. Why do you go from the Timberwolves circumstance to the Cavaliers circumstance?
Only because you think that with Kyrie Irving,
you can attract
somebody else, other guys are going to come up too.
That's a dare. That's going on a dare. You got to know more than that.
That organization has been dysfunctional. They have fired, I believe, a GM and 2 coaches within a year. I don't know why anybody thinks it's going to work now. Dion Waiters, Tristan Thompson, what have they done? They've been really hard hits.
And so if you are Kevin Love, why are you going to sign on to that? What assurances do you have? You want to miss the playoffs 6 more years? Now, I'm not saying it's going to continue that way. You got different management, but Tony, a lot of questions, and you may have to just use the pick. Talent at the top of the board.
That's the fallback. I think you trade it.
Or a car. The Cubs haven't had any good news against the Yankees since, well, never. But they did yesterday. The Cubbies became the first team since 2012 to beat Masahiro Tanaka in a regular season baseball game. Cubs catcher John Baker joked, quote, "We beat the Floyd Mayweather of baseball today," close quote. Tanaka's fastball was down about 4 miles an hour, and he knew coming in he didn't have any movement. But the key might be the Cubs are the first team in the majors to see Tanaka, now 6-1, a second time. Tone, fluke or foreshadowing?
I don't think it's a fluke. I mean, you know, you see a team a second time, they got tape on you, they know what you do, they can better prepare for you. Last night, I think the 2 best pitchers in baseball so far, Tanaka and Johnny Cueto, neither of them got into the 7th inning.
The Nationals took out Johnny Cueto.
You can't go. In Japan, maybe you can go 24-0. Nobody's expecting this guy to go 24-0. At the moment, he's 6-1 with a 2.39 ERA. You're going to take that because I'm going to take that.
I'm going to take it every time.
Yeah,
you don't need to go NO. Okay, right. But you pitching the way he's pitching. The Cubs are a little better. This constitutes a roll if they wind up finishing off a 4th consecutive victory for them. You know, the best they've been in like a couple of years. But, Tony, people have bad outings. Maybe he just didn't feel well.
And
you notice
raining.
he didn't have the stuff. You can talk to the best pitchers ever, and they can say, you know what, warming up tonight, I had nothing. I had no movement on my fastball. I couldn't locate it. And they know they're going to be in for a struggle, and that's what Tanaka had last night.
Let me give you what happens. Yasiel Puig comes up, and he hits everybody the first time around. He looks great. The second time around, not so much. Steven Strasburg, a 2.32 ERA after his first 9 games in his first season when he faced 9 different teams. Then the Marlins got him a second time, and they got him for 6 runs in 4 1/3.
Sort of similar.
Because you're not going to go through unscathed. It doesn't happen.
Other guys getting paid, as we say.
Yeah, I don't think it's foreshadowing, but it's not a fluke. At a press conference today in advance of the BMW PGA Championships in England, Rory McIlroy openly discussed his breakup with Caroline Wozniacki. The golfer and the tennis player were engaged. It even sent out wedding invitations. Today, McIlroy said, quote, "The problem is mine. The wedding invitations issued this weekend made me realize that I wasn't ready for all that marriage entails," unquote. Well, when you watch this, I watched this. What were your feelings?
I feel bad for him.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him. I feel awful. I felt like, can we get out of this? Glad I wasn't in that room. You and I have been in some rooms with some uncomfortable press conferences. This was really that way. And this is the life now that people lead who are a lot younger than us, who think that everything they do has to be on some form of social media, from Facebook to Twitter to whatever it is, Snapchat. There's always something that you have to put yourself out there.
Your favorite, Tinder.
Tinder, yeah. And when you put yourself out there, it can boomerang and hit you square in the face.
I think that this is generational. We're on the other side of this issue. I don't have that many rules that I live by, but I don't think that anyone other than the President of the United States should talk about his medical conditions. I don't think you have to do that. And I don't think that you have to talk about your private life. Now, he chose to do it, so it's fair to
There's a reason he chose to do it. Because their romance had been so public. They made it public.
That's right.
I don't blame them. This is the world they live in. I don't want to live in that world.
Of every single thing you do.
And
if you make statements of everything you do, and you basically invite the entire world into your life.
To participate into your life.
I would not do this.
And we don't do it. We don't do it. I do far too much of it. Just even being on Twitter reminds me of what you open yourself up for, the extra scrutiny. Who needs this? And now he's got to talk about how he's going to, golf course is going to be a sanctuary. People are asking. I feel bad for him.
I totally agree with this. He said, I'm going to make this announcement once, and I don't ever want to have to talk about it again. And he shouldn't have
to. Until it's on Twitter later today?
Have to. Let's take a break. Coming up, is Jim Irsay surprised that he has not been suspended yet?
Plus, Tim Duncan gets chested, and D-Wade defends his outfit. Well, sort of. You'll see.
Interesting outfit.
It was.
Interesting.
I don't know that you nor I could pull that off.
These days, you can get practically anything on demand, like this podcast. Did you know you can even get postage on demand? You can with Stamps.com. No more going to the post office. No more waiting in line. Just go to Stamps.com and print all the postage you want, anytime you want. Anything you can do at the post office, you can do right from your desk with Stamps.com. Buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter or package using your own computer and printer. And, unlike the post office, Stamps.com never closes, so you can get postage whenever you need it. Right now, get this special offer from Stamps.com when you use promo code PTI, a no-risk trial, plus a $110 bonus offer that includes a digital scale and up to $55 free postage. Don't wait. Go to Stamps.com and, before you do anything else, click on the microphone at the top of the home page and type in PTI. That's Stamps.com, promo code PTI.
Dim the lights, cue the music, and gather up my internet chat room friends for a little role play. Why don't you give and I will receive?
Those chat rooms can be sort of dangerous. You know who you are?
No.
One of your faves.
No.
You're Jim Irsay.
Oh, yeah.
Are you surprised you haven't been suspended yet?
Am I surprised? Are you surprised? Let me go over my recent activity. Okay, I was arrested on suspicion of driving while intoxicated, and police found $29,000 in cash in a laundry bag with me, and a whole bunch of pills that were prescribed but not necessarily prescribed to me that might warrant 4 different felony counts of illegal drug possession. And where was I 2 weeks ago? I was in the war room with the Colts during the draft. And
where were you this week?
This week I was at the owners' meeting making a pitch for Indianapolis to get the Super Bowl.
Why is that?
You know what? I am living large and in charge.
Who let you live large?
I'm living the dream.
Who let you live large?
People say that Roger Goodell is a law and order commissioner. You can't prove it by me.
No.
And by the way, those drugs in the bag, Clomid. All the men on the Indianapolis Colts want to get fertile. And so I had a bunch of Clomid. So I think I'm doing really well.
Yeah, you're skating. The commissioner is just fiddling
I am.
while you do whatever you want to do, Jim Irsay.
I am.
Who am I?
You're Tim Duncan.
Good.
You're always so quiet and respectful.
Yeah.
Do you think the Spurs are getting enough respect?
The Spurs don't get any respect, particularly from people like you, Tony. You think I don't watch your show? You know, I even get your radio show down here. People like you. You're going to pick OKC, and then without Ibaka over us, you say we're getting old. You say Tim Duncan's been around forever. How you like it when I threw 27 on OKC the other night?
Tim Duncan.
Oh, Durant. You've had Durant. You didn't even mention me and Tony
Have you been around
Parker.
forever? Is it fair to say you've been around forever?
I've been around for a little while.
Do you feel
Still
that
kicking tail?
you personally get enough respect?
I don't get any respect.
Are you
I don't
okay
even
with
want any respect.
Okay, good.
You know what I want?
What?
I want rings, Tony. You count us out, you and your ilk.
It's been a
you
while.
said we had no chance last year. After last year, we gave up game 6 and 7.
Yeah,
it was
you blew it.
humiliating.
Thought you had a
We think
ring.
about it every day
You blew
of the
it,
year.
Tim.
Do you know what? I may just go radio silent on you and your ilk.
When was your last ring? When was your last ring?
You know what? It's 4. When do I care that it's the last?
What was the last interesting thing you said?
It might be this year.
Okay, great.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
No, I know you don't. 'Cause you're not listening.
I like Tim Duncan a lot. He's a great player.
You are Blake Bortles.
Am I?
Is that who Blake Bortles is? How do you feel about the Jaguars' plan to have you watch Chad Henne for a season?
Are they kidding with this? Chad Henne. What exactly do they think I'm going to learn from Chad Henne? How to throw in a given season more interceptions and touchdowns? How to have a career 75.3 rating? He's awful. I'm not going to learn anything from him.
How do we know
Look
you're any
at
good?
me. I'm the number 3 overall pick.
What does that mean?
If Chad Henne was any good, would I have been the number 3 overall pick? I'm not replacing Johnny Unitas here. When I hear that the GM and the coach want me to sit till 2015, I question why they have jobs. This makes no sense to me. I already look like I'm 35. How long do I have to wait for this? I'm in Jacksonville. What am I waiting for, a table at the Waffle House? I am a really good quarterback, and Chad Henne is a stooge. Get him out.
You know, you look like
Who?
a poor man's Vinny Testaverde.
Really?
Yeah, very poor.
Am I better than Chad Henne?
Who knows? Maybe not. You're presuming a lot. If you would take that into account,
Wow.
who am I?
You're Dwayne Wade.
Good.
Are we supposed to take your shorts seriously?
What's wrong with my shorts? Have you seen my outfits, Tony? Look, I'm a fashionista.
Look at those.
I know
Look at those.
You don't quite understand what I'm wearing most of the time.
I know what you're wearing.
I'll try to have Wilbon explain it to you because he cares a lot more about
I know what
fashion
you're
than you
wearing.
do. But do you know how much those shorts cost me?
No.
More than every suit you got in your closet combined.
As I've told you many
That's how
times,
much.
Dwayne, you look like an old grandma in South Beach.
And it was,
That's what you
but
look
I'm
like.
on
And
South
wondering,
Beach, and I know how to dress on South Beach.
When you wear shorts like that, are you wearing that as sort of a hedge against a flood or a water main break?
You know
what?
what?
Are you doing?
If I was wearing that tie without a pocket square, I really wouldn't talk about anybody else's clothing.
Oh, yeah,
That's
this
what
is
I wouldn't do.
outrageous.
But I'm on South
You dress
Beach,
like a booby.
and I've got a hot actress wife, and I've got people looking in. I'm the best dressed guy in the NBA.
Yeah, but
what do you got to say?
Your pants stopped.
They didn't
before
stop,
most
and I
people's
had a
pants
pair
stopped.
of pants, dark gray, thank you, perfect ensemble under that to match the shoes, with a hint of patent leather. Did you notice?
Like
Did you
every
notice?
other grandma on
Tony,
Collins Avenue.
Pocket square.
That's
Try
it for role play.
Complete
Pocket
your
squares are for you,
ensemble.
for squares.
Complete
Time for a break,
the outfit,
but on the
Tony.
way,
Not complete.
what should we make of Johnny Manziel working with the third team?
And what possessed the Dodgers minor leaguer to bite off part of his teammate's ear? Is this Mike Tyson time?
Wayne
What
Wade's
is this?
way out in front of everybody. He's so far out in front that people just say, go out in front.
Fashionista.
You get out there. Happy time, people. Happy 91st birthday, Ara Parsegian, one of the greatest college football coaches of all time. Most famous for coaching Notre Dame. The current Notre Dame coach, Brian Kelly, says that to this day, Parsegian handwrites a note to him after every Notre Dame game with observations and suggestions, and Kelly saves every one.
See a couple of people on his staff at Northwestern. George Steinbrenner, Bo Schembechler. He didn't have an eye for some coaching talent.
Happy anniversary to this older lady in Houston. On this day 11 years ago, you borrowed this cane from the fellow sitting next to you and whacked this dope who fell over both of you chasing a home run ball. 2 days ago, another dope fell over another older woman, this time in Anaheim, and again emerged holding the ball aloft as if he had discovered a new planet. Meanwhile, Sparky, you hurt the woman.
See, it's okay then if people in the row just subdue this gentleman, pick him up, and throw him over the outfield wall into the left field.
Happy trails to part of Alex Guerrero's ear. The Dodgers minor league prospect had it bitten off last night by teammate Miguel Olivo. In an amazing understatement afterwards, Dodgers GM Ned Colletti said, and I quote, "We don't condone it, and we don't think it's constructive," unquote. Is there any debate about this? Does anyone other than Mike Tyson think it's constructive? Actually, it is reconstructive because Guerrero now needs plastic surgery.
This warrants a 50-game suspension. And then I would say, I'd call up Mr. Colletti and say, you know what, just for laughs, I'm going to suspend you for 10 for saying something that dumb. Take a hike, take a vacation.
Isn't Olivo, he's a major leaguer of some
a major leaguer. He's been around a little bit. People thought he had talent. Now he's in the minors.
He played in a game while passing a kidney stone. He is a tough guy.
We're not questioning his toughness.
Why is he?
We're also questioning his judgment. Maybe that's why his career has not been what people thought it would be because of his physical tools.
Is this okay now to just bite people's ears? Is this like trending now?
50-game minimum.
Trying to find out what we messed up, Reali.
Olivo was once also voted by teammates the guy you most want to have your back in a fight. So
well, you don't want to be against him in a fight.
Missed that vote. Cavs have had the #1 4 of the last 12 drafts. Wilbon going back to LeBron in 03, and Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union set to be married this summer.
Okay.
Games.
I didn't miss like much.
Let's go to the big finish.
Let's do
the
it.
Grizzlies are allowing Coach Dave Yeager to interview with the T-Wolves. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because the new owner wants to wipe everybody out of the front office of the Memphis Grizzlies, so it wouldn't make sense. Johnny Manziel got third-team reps. Third team with the Brownies offense. I bet you love that, don't you?
It's insane. You want to
Your
teach
boy's
him humility?
a third-teamer.
Is that really what you want to do?
He's a scout
He's selling
teamer.
all your tickets. You want him on the third team,
scout
really?
team.
The Kings put the #8 pick in the draft on the trading block immediately. Will they get any takers?
Yes, because there are a lot of teams that think that 8, 10, 12, there are a lot of players deep draft, yes. NFL has started officially licensing these ugly sweaters. You like?
They're Christmas sweaters. People are going to buy them. I don't like them, but they're fine.
They're
Last
actually
one.
hideous.
Kings Blackhawks game 2 tonight. Who you got in that game?
A one-game lead for the Blackhawks. I'm not going to take the Kings lightly, a recent championship team. I would hope the Blackhawks could win game 2
Who are you
at
going to
home.
take in that game?
Who do you think I'm taking? Hey, who am I going to take?
We're out of
Who
time.
are you going to take?
We'll try to do better the next time. I'm Tony Korn.
The Rangers are playing. You got a team in this. Who you taking? I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. Check out the PTI podcast on iTunes.
Hero Cat. Enough already. Enough.
What makes the Indy 500 the greatest spectacle in racing?
Michael Morgan.
We are green. Everyone in the grandstands are on their feet.
You're now a winner of the Indianapolis 500, my friend.
The Indianapolis 500, Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on ABC.